Hey, I'm Jeff. Not Dead Yet Adventures is the channel, and I'm a nomad, global nomad. I've been on the road for 3 years. And I was just going through some stuff, repacking all my bags, doing an assessment, that every so often, see if I actually need to be carrying this with me. And I came across a few things that I haven't seen many people talk about, so I thought I'd drop it here. Just a little quick video. And I want to talk about some things I would make sure I had in my bag before I left America. And a couple I wish I brought more, a couple I'm happy with what I got going. But the first one is stamps. It seems kind of trivial, but I got these American stamps, and they were in my bag, or they were in my passport carrier. Sorry, I couldn't come up with it. I did a whole video one time on my passport carrier, the RFID thing, but I had some stamps in there, and I had about 3 times this many, and they're the American flag stamps, so let me get it right side up. And it seems kind of trivial, but it's a nice little thing to give strangers, like when you meet them, and they can stick it somewhere, and it's just kind of one of those little random things. And the way they tear apart, it just worked out really nicely. So it's a little, thing to just kind of trade with people. The other one is single dollar bills. So I've got a few left, and a lot of places you go, nobody will care, right? Nobody will care at all. But I noticed when I was in Malaysia a couple of years ago, a lot of people were asking me for a dollar bill. They wanted to trade dollar bills essentially, right? Or they just wanted a dollar bill for as a tip or as a whatever, right? As a gift. And it's kind of one of those things, like, it doesn't hold a lot of value to people in other countries because they lose it all in the exchange rate. But it's one of those things that, it's kind of like a trading thing, right? People collecting dollar bills, especially when you're dealing in a lot of tourist areas. It just seems like, a unique, like, thank you, or, remember me type thing. So those two are kind of like just little random things that I would say, throw a couple extras in your bag. Things that aren't really unique abroad. Stickers from your hometown would be a good thing. And I used to get some really high-end chocolates when I was flying back and forth a lot. And because I was on this route from California to the Philippines, I made it, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. And starting on the second trip, I learned bring some chocolates and give them to the airline attendants before you get on a 12-hour flight, and your flight goes a little bit smoother. The other thing is going to sound really strange, but passport photos. Having a half dozen passport photos can be very advantageous, and they're simple. And if you get them in a little thing like this, now I overpaid for these, oh man, I can't believe how much. I went to, I don't know if it was Mailboxes, etc., or one of those places. In fact, it may say on here. And it was just insanely expensive for the passport photos. I cut it off. But this is one of those little things that, holds the passport photos. And I cut it down so it fit my actual passport. But when I had to get a new passport, this was very handy. And then there are some visas that require you to have a passport photo. So it's handy just to have them. And it's not something you want to be running around trying to find. A lot of places you'll be able to find, get it done. But it was just one of those random things that I didn't think about and ended up being extremely handy when I replaced my passport. And I'll probably do a whole video on replacing my passport because that was an interesting process. There's a bunch of other stuff that, like, I would say, needs to be in your bag, but, pretty much everybody covers all that. Like, the one thing that I don't see a lot of people cover is have 2 wallets, right? I've talked about this in the past, but have 2 wallets, totally complete wallets. Get your 1 ATM card and 1 credit card. And what I would try and do is, I don't know how your banking's set up, and it's none of my business, but if you have an ATM and a credit card from the same bank, I would keep those together and then an ATM card and a credit card from the same bank. Keep those together. So if you're like, you reverse that and do an ATM and credit card from different banks, if one of them gets compromised, right, that could lock up all your banks. But I would have, at a minimum, I would have 2 credit cards and 2 ATM cards separate. You don't want same cards. And I would have 2 separate banks. So everything's isolated. And have it set up so that they don't really talk to each other super easy, because if somebody gets into one, you don't want them affecting the other, and vice versa. Like, you don't want one set up in an overdraft situation where if this account is empty, it empties that account too. And then 2 separate wallets, right? And keep them separate, obviously, for a good reason. Unless you're at a hotel, put them both in the safe, maybe. But yeah, I think having 2 separate wallets with 2 separate ATM cards and 2 separate credit cards is a very important thing. And then also explore, how do you get money if all your cards are locked, right? So there's a lot of ways to do it. There's Wise, there's Western Union. And don't, I'm not encouraging you to go sign up for all this crazy stuff before you travel. I'm just saying explore it and kind of have an idea, what avenue you're going to go there. Maybe, go to, check out Western Union or check out Wise, or, see how can you move money or contact somebody to have money sent to you. And the other thing is 2 IDs or multiple IDs. So a lot of people get their driver's license, right? That's a good ID, and you're going to want that if you're going to rent a scooter or motorcycle. And if you do plan on renting scooters or motorcycles, get the motorcycle certification in America on your driver's license, and that will go a lot easier. You could probably rent a scooter, and usually it's easy to pass. I don't know every state, but I know a lot of states, it's just a little obstacle course for your motorcycle driver's license and then a written test. But having that will make life go a lot easier in some countries. And then the other thing, if you don't have another government issued ID, some states will give you an ID card instead of a driver's license, or you can get a second one. That's usually hard, and usually they'll invalidate the one. You don't want to get caught with 2 at the same time. That's not a good thing. But you can get when you get a passport, you can get the passport card. So, excuse me. So if you haven't got your passport, so if you haven't got your passport yet, make sure you get the card. Even though it's only technically good for Canada and Mexico, I believe, it is a good ID, especially if you're going in someplace to get money or something. A lot of people will recognize it as an ID, not necessarily as a passport document, but it is recognized as an ID most places I've been. Yeah, I think that kind of covers. There's a lot of other little things I would say pick up, but it's just kind of coming across random stuff as I'm going through, like sorting what do I need to. I want to lighten my packs. I want to carry less. So, I'm just kind of going through like, okay, I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need that. And the dollar bills, this is one thing I wish I brought another 30 or 40 with me, because, it's a nice little gift to give to somebody. And I've had a lot of people ask for a $1 bill. And then the stamps are just kind of fun, right? I know it's silly and trivial, but it's kind of fun. And, one time on an airplane, I gave one to a little kid, and he was very excited about it, right? Because it's like basically just a little sticker, right? And you could do that too. You could get American stickers, get stickers from Texas or California or wherever you're from, right? Have little stickers, like 2x2 stickers. That's something I might look into, just because, it spreads a little goodwill, a little good karma out there. And there's a ton of other things, but having 2 wallets, getting the passport card is a good money well spent. Even if you have to apply for a new passport to get it, I don't know if you can apply for just the card. If your passport's over 5 years, getting the new one, I forgot when they came out with the new passport's got that hard card in it. And if you don't have that, you probably want to upgrade to that anyway, just because A lot of places you can scan through the line without waiting in line. You can just go up to the auto scanner if you have that card in the hard passport, because this one's flexible, the old one, right? It bends. The new one doesn't bend like that. And then some dollar bills or stickers or something from your hometown, something small. And then the passport, like I said, the passport photos, chances are you're not going to go someplace where you need one for a visa. But if you do, you've got it, right? And it's one of those things, if you're going to get a passport holder, a case, which I highly recommend, an RFID case, it's easy to slip in there. It's easy, real easy. There's a ton of other stuff, like I said. The other one that comes to mind are charging cables for your phone. I wouldn't put them all in one place. I would like tuck one in this little pocket, tuck one in that little pocket, and have a half dozen or so that are just tucked away. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that was 10 minutes well spent. If not, I'm sorry. Have a great day.